The very first time my teacher came up to me, I was in class 7, and said, Suryadeep, you have to present in the school assembly. I didn't really know what to say, what to react. I said, yes, sir, please help me out. It was Mr. Gomes, and I was in class 7. St. Paul's Mission School, Kolkata. Our dais was slightly elevated from the ground. And back then, even though this dais was just in the construction phase, we were told that once the construction gets over, we will be able to stand on the dais and then address the entire school. But then it had not been completed. So beside the dais were the steps leading up to the main hall, and then across on the first floor, second floor, and third floor were the classrooms. So we were asked to stand on top of the stairs. The mic was adjusted over there, and that's how the whole school was addressed. So all we had to do is walk through the dais, go to the stairs, and from there deliver. The moment the assembly and everything, the lines and everything was done, the bell was rung, everyone stood in their lines. I remember walking through, slowly tiptoeing. And as I was walking through, I realized my legs had started becoming heavy. Mr. Gomes had given me the perfect story to share. He had given me every single guidance that I needed. But there I walked, but I was not able to speak. It started out with good morning, everyone. And after a couple of moments, there were some giggles. I thought maybe the audience is enjoying, so I kind of stepped out from there and bowed down to realize I had already wet my pants. That is how I started my public speaking journey. Welcome to this very special episode. Thank you so much for signing up once again. This time I wanted to make sure that the entire story is completed. For the last two lives, I saw that the start was a little missed off. So I wanted to make sure that it's all set properly. Today's episode, we're going to dive deep into the whole concept of stories and how stories are the missing piece in our day-to-day lives. So, as usual, I'm going to be having a mind map with me, and you will not see me showing you the mind map because I don't want your attention to get diverted away from me. Okay, that's my sole focus. At the end of today's session, I can guarantee you, if you're with me, if you're going to do every single thing that I ask you to do, if you're able to do it right now, amazing. If not, make sure that you save this video and you're able to do it at a particular time. It's going to take you somewhere around 15 to 20 minutes to do this entire step. So to begin with, why should you even consider sharing stories? And I'm not talking about just your own stories, like the stories that you read, the little experience, every single thing. So it all begins with when you share a story, just like I did, if you remember, the three things that instantly happened. The first, I shared something with you which happened with me, which is a vulnerable side of my life. At that point of time, I remember I found it very difficult to go to school for the next 1 week. Everybody would laugh at me, everybody would make fun of me. I was scared of public speaking throughout my school life and beyond as well. What I got established was authenticity. Authenticity. I shared exactly what happened, exactly how it is. And more often than not, people are generous. Human beings are conditionally, naturally, they have empathy within them. They are embodiments of empathy and compassion. So I know that if I share my authentic side, you will relate to me. Second thing is transparency. I did not hide anything. Did not hold back anything. I shared with you everything exactly as it happened, and that increases the trust quotient. Oh, if somebody is being so vulnerable and sharing his personal side with me, which means this is something that I should listen to. He's someone I can trust. Innately, it gets developed. The third thing is okay, authenticity, transparency, and the third, I love that it's called congruency and integrity. So congruence, every single emotion that I felt, I expressed it out to you in the form of a story. And at the end of the day, if I was able to bear myself out completely of what I experienced, you will know that probably in future stories also, every single thing that I share is going to be absolutely true. And as human beings, we kind of feel it. All of these things happens the fastest through stories. And these are not my words. These are the words of some of the greatest entrepreneurs in the world. You look at Steve Jobs, the way he used to craft his stories. If you go watch his iPhone releases year after year, okay, you look at Tim Cook, you look at Sam Altman, you look at Jeff Bezos, all these legends across the globe, even politicians, right? They give you some amazing set of stories, which you're either connecting or not connecting, because at the end, they are able to hold the attention of the audience. So it helps you build relationships. It helps your listeners stay hooked. And finally, when you share stories, it impacts the decisions faster than just sharing something. And of course, you will be having loads of other reasons. It helps you become confident, it helps you speak with ease, it helps you with your originality, all these factors. Now, why is it that people hate sharing stories? If I ask you right now, who are the people you have shared stories with? Or who are the kind of people you will associate stories with the most? Isn't it children, grandchildren, grandparents sharing stories with their grandchildren? Isn't it? And the interesting part here is how easily and effortlessly we connect to stories and something that we've been practicing or at least been a part of in the form of experience from time to time, we fail to accept that it's a hidden gem of a skill in our day-to-day lives. Now, if you've watched yesterday's live, you know what I'm talking about. We shared about the whole framework of public speaking before you start, the way you start, the way you connect with body language and vocal variety. We missed out on the content part. And then how do you end? Today, we are covering the content part. And the best way to do so is through stories. So let's get started with the different forms of real life stories. Now, even before I get into the forms, let's first understand what is a real life story. And there's going to be some very little, subtle stories dispersed throughout this entire session. So be with me and you're going to enjoy it for sure. I'll talk about today morning itself. So every morning I have this habit of going to sleep early. I've been practicing this for the last 11 days for now. I go to sleep at around 8, 8:30, 9, 9:30, depends on the amount of work I have left. As I stay outside alone, it depends on various factors. Yesterday, I decided, let's watch a movie. It's been so many days, we've been working so hard, we need to watch a movie. The movie was okayish. The sleep got a little dispersed. And as usual, I'm still in that zone where every single time you watch a movie, you need you need to have chips, cold drinks, some kind of a cake, something or the other. Probably hardwired, and that has become a very, very bad habit. So munching on stuff, watching the movie. When the movie got over and been trying to sleep, but it's been difficult to sleep because of all the food that went in. The stomach is digesting it. The sugars and sugar spikes and everything is going up. But still, I ended up sleeping. Somehow managed. But today in the morning, when the alarm woke up, woke me up. I don't even remember what happened. I turned it off, only to realize few seconds, minutes, hours, I'm not sure when, but when the eyes opened, the first thing was, oh, I have to conduct this live. I hope the time is not over. Where's my phone? Where's my phone? Where's my, the moment I check the phone, it's 7:03. Okay, live I will not miss. Fine. But what exactly happened? And what's the very next step that usually happens in these kind of situations? Come on, Suryadeep, you are not able to wake up. Come on, Suryadeep, you are not able to wake up. You are such a horrible person. That was the first instinct. That's what we all do, isn't it? When we set a target for ourselves, we don't achieve it, we end up beating ourselves up. Here I chose compassion over complain, an argument. It's okay. Yes, you have to finish your workouts. You'll probably have to push it later during the day. You will have to postpone your food timings a little bit. But let's figure out the live, and then we'll sort it out. When you choose compassion and gratitude over anger and playing the victim or complain mode, you are vibrating at a higher frequency and you're manifesting things like never before. So when's the next time you're going to be compassionate with yourself? True story. Now, imagine me telling you all this in the form of a gyan or just a knowledge. People should wake up in the morning. If you don't wake up, you should beat yourself up and all. What's going to happen as you're listening? Does that make sense? So with that, let's come to the 5 different forms of stories. So there are various forms of stories which can be used, but then you got to understand how to segregate all of them. And the way that I see it is these forms will help you understand and navigate through depending on the topic that you're speaking about. So oftentimes you will see that there are certain personal situations, there are professional situations. And you will know exactly which category of stories to use where. Again, there's no right or wrong combination related to this. It's just what works and what doesn't. Okay, so we're gonna go one by one. The first is called as autograph stories. Autograph stories, these are specific moments in your life that has changed the trajectory of your life, more like a turning point of your life. The only story that I'm able to recollect at this point of time is when my college had gotten over, 2014, and I was happily pursuing botany honors. My mom walked up to me and said, around September 2014, so college had already started 1 month. My mom, September, Orko, which is my nickname, can I ask you for something? I said, yeah, mummy, tell me. See, you have always fulfilled all my dreams. Can I ask you to fulfill one little dream if that's okay with you? Yeah, please tell me. Can you try to attempt one more time? But mummy, I'm not able to. Like you saw, my results were horrible. Yeah, I understand. Can we attempt one more time? I want to see you as the first doctor of our family. But it's going to cost a lot, right? There are teachers, there are a lot of things. I'll take care of it all. Can you try one more time for me? And then she got my friends to convince me, my school batchmates to convince me. I did drop a year. I did attempt one more time. It was a little better than the previous year, but not as good as I would have ideally wanted. So while the results got announced, the counseling and everything started, I had got the marks just barely enough to get a seat in Bangalore. When my dad took me to Bangalore to all those colleges, my uncle was there, my cousin was there. We went to all those colleges and we realized the general seats had already been over. I didn't know what to do. My dad started making a lot of phone calls to the banks and so forth, whatnot. Finally, he had a dentist friend who recommended him, take him to this college. They are offering uh, seats if you have a certain criteria. They're offering seats. Just check it out. Give my reference. See what happens. So we went in the administrative department. The only condition there was you have to pay the entire 4 years fees at one shot. So my dad asked me, will you do it? Will you be able to do it? Today, if I pay the fees, will you be able to complete dentistry? I said it with such a heavy voice. Probably he's betting his entire life on me. I said, yes, Baba, I'll do it. If you put me in, I will at least clear the entire degree without any difficulty. That's what happened. 4 years, I didn't drop a single subject, finished with first class, learned skills, which right now is helping me to earn probably 4 or 5 times more than what my average which my batchmates are earning, doing something that I'm passionate about. Although I've moved away from the clinical side of dentistry, here I am sharing whatever I've learned in the process, getting an opportunity to speak to you and helping and supporting my family. What I recall is, what if dad had not asked me that question that morning? Now, this is an example of an autograph story. You take the audience through the emotional roller coasters to take them to a point. And these are very, very specific stories. This can be used in any big platform when you're asked to give a farewell speech or some kind of a welcome address or any of these things. Yeah. So coming back. Let's kick up the energy a little more. I don't want to get too emotional with all these different stories. The next one is called as memory stories. Memory stories is very interesting. You you move a little forward and look back. When you look back, you will have something called as your the point of time when you have your first memory. From your first memory until this point, at the present moment, right here, right now, this has been your life. And in your life, you've had certain moments. The first birthday that you celebrated, the first time you went to school, the first time you went to college, the first girlfriend, the first relationship, the first time you graduated, first report card, first beating, the first appraisal, the eh, I mean, I'm not able to come up with so many incidents, or even things like the first time you went to class two, or third standard, fourth standard, your very first day of every year in school, the last day of every year in school, the exam you scored the highest, the exam where you failed, all these different points are stories. And again, how to share stories, I'll come to that. But you're able to see you already have such a big bank of memories that you can recollect. How do you even get started? That is literally the best way that I've told you to get started. Take a piece of paper and write down from the time you remember your first memory all the way to now, and just start marking every single memory that you remember. And those are all stories. How to document stories, I'll tell you more about it in some time. But this is memory stories. The third one is called as reporter stories. What is the reporter method? Let's just say you watched a video, or you watch someone else talk about something. You're watching a podcast, you're watching a training video, you're reading a book, you are observing something that's happening around you. You can create a story about that. There were two people discussing. One who wanted to create a completely nationalized identity purely based on beliefs and culture. The other person wanted to ensure that there is unity no matter what. The discussions went on, but then they realized that they were not able to come to any common ground. And situations had escalated way too much within, amongst the people within that country. When both of them realized that there was no way to move forward, the final thing was to separate the countries. And that is how India bid farewell to Pakistan. Since that day, it's been hard. But it's those had those two people sorted out their communication, who knows, maybe we would have had the greatest conglomerate of nations in unity, even to this point. The center of Asia. The two people I'm talking about is Mahatma Gandhi and Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Reporter method. Now, are you able to see that there is a build up to the whole story? It need not be perfect. It'll never be perfect. That's the point. For example, right now at this point of time, this entire presentation is not something that I prepared for. I just have the mind map in front of me and I'm going with the flow. I'm allowing the natural way that I've kind of trained myself over the last 5.5 years to allow me to flow through this entire conversation and intersperse stories within it. Reporter method is when you hear somebody's conversations or you overheard something or you read something and you are crafting a story related to that which people can connect to, because somewhere somehow they also must have heard about it. Okay. So coming to the next one, this one is called as emotion stories. Every single time you share any of these stories, it evokes certain emotions. Now, how many emotions are there in this world? Right now, if I ask you to write down, okay, how many emotions do you think there are there? How many emotions do you feel in an entire week? So my mentor Tony Robbins does this exercise in his events, and usually people come up with the the highest and the maximum that people come up with is 12 to 15. The ones who are not so self-aware will come up with 4 or 5. Uh, so 4 or 5 is kind of the average. So it's like happy, sad, angry, pissed, messed up, guilt. That's it. But then he introduced this whole thing called as the emotional roller coaster. The number of emotions, the number of words describing each of these emotions. And then there was this emotional intelligence book, which highlighted a spoke of emotions of more than 170 plus forms of emotions. So there is, there's gratitude, there is bliss, there is happiness, there is contentment, there is satisfaction, there is joy. All these are different forms of happiness in different intensity. Now, if you have a story for every such emotion, isn't it? There were episodes, there were moments in your life when you got angry, moments in your life when you got sad, uh, super happy, ultra excited, super nervous. All the emotions has a story revolving around it. So you take all of those things down. And finally, the last form of stories you have is called linking stories. Now, this is my favorite form of stories. I learned this from, again, one of my coaches. His name is Vin Jiang. He's taught this technique beautifully. Let's just say you are given any topic in this world and you're asked to connect that topic with a completely other set of topics or words which has absolutely no connection with each other. Now, I never tried doing the linking process other than actually sitting down and doing it on a notebook and pen. So I'm going to attempt to do it right now live. Even if I mess up, it's okay because it's a part of being human, which is you fail and then you grow. So let me try this out. So linking, let's take a word. Let's take life. And let's take another word, any abstract word, pineapple. Okay. Life and pineapple. So now, what are the few words related to life that I can recall? I'll take three words so that it's easy. Three words here, three words here. Okay. So life is unpredictable. It's a roller coaster, and I feel it needs to give you freedom. So unpredictable, roller coaster, freedom under life. Pineapple. Pineapple is juicy. It's a it has a very nice shape. Like at the top, there is this leaves, and then there is spikes all over, and it looks kind of round. So the shape is pretty interesting. Juicy shape, and fills the fills the tummy. Fills the tummy. So I've got under life, I've got 3 points that talks about life, and then three descriptions about pineapple. The linking method is when we put these two things together and craft a story using those words. So let me take any topic and create a story around it. So promotion. Okay. I've worked hard enough, and now I want to talk to my boss about promotion, or I'm giving a presentation on promotion. The fact that I need a promotion, I need a raise in my salary or whatever it is. Let's see. How many of us feel that we all deserve more money, especially with the amount of hard work that we put in? Show of hands. Every single time we feel so, we are kind of hit by life, the unpredictability of it. It's not in my control. No matter how hard I try, it gets, there are certain things that I can control, there are certain things I cannot. The roller coaster of emotions that life throws at us with, especially with respect to our job, our career, our promotions. We know that we are putting in all the efforts, but then we put it every single day, and that becomes a continuum that is considered as our it's a mandate. It's something that is expected of us as a default mode. So whenever we go for asking a promotion, we are only given a box of chocolates in every Diwali. Yeah, this is how you celebrate. Not the raise, not the appraisal. But at the same time, we know deep down there is something cooking, some creative flow that goes in, something inside that tells us we need to take it to the next level. The next level by working harder, the next level by taking responsibility, the next level by channeling our creative juices that shapes us. We take action steps with respect to our mind, our body, our spirit. We turn our shells into thick and spiny, telling no to things that doesn't matter because we are cooking the juices inside. Once we put ourselves out to the world in the form of either bringing more value to our existing company or attempting to see what value that I can bring through the marketplace by signing up for another job or creating something of my own, that's when we know that it's life, the real taste of life gets fulfilled. My favorite fruit is the pineapple. And life is all about getting promoted, not once in a year, but every single day with the efforts that you put in. How many of you are going to be working on yourself starting today? That's it. It's the linking method. Now, how did I do? I have no idea. I have to literally rewatch this segment to observe. But if you've been watching right now, just share whatever you're feeling once I finish this linking. Did you see what I just did? I took two completely contrasting words, a completely different topic, which has no, I would say promotion has a lot to do with life, but has nothing to do with pineapples. I kind of interconnected every single thing. It's called the linking method. Of course, it requires a little bit of more practice. I've done this enough, so I kind of know how to create the structure. I did this without any notes. So you're also going to be able to do it if you practice it long enough. So what you can try to do is save this video and ensure that you are rewatching this so that you can always learn. So these were the different forms of stories. Now, how do you really document all these stories? The best way I do it is through an Excel sheet. The Excel sheet, I will just tell you the columns and the rows fills up on itself. Okay. So in the column, you take any Excel sheet. The first column is going to be the serial number. The second column is going to be the headline related to the story. And I don't want you to write down the entire story. I want you to write association links related to story, which means certain elements of that story. So, for example, if I'm writing whatever stories that I've shared so far, as per my collection, I shared about Mr. Gomes and my first time speaking on stage. I shared about my autograph story of my dad. I shared this little linking method. Linking method, I won't really consider my story, but I gave you certain examples, right? So, if I'm just taking these two examples and putting it in that story trove, that's what I like to call the story trove, where you're documenting all your stories. The serial number is going to be 1 and 2. And the headline is going to be, I'm just taking the first story. 7th standard, Mr. Gomes, first time speaking on school, peeing in my pants. That's the heading. Okay. Then I will write down in the next column, I will write down what story is it. So this is an autograph story. Fourth column, what emotions did it provoke within me? I'll write that down. What were my observations and learnings? And I will write a couple of bullet points related to it. Where can I use this story? So I can use this in presentations. I can use this in a as an introduction. I can use this in a TEDx stage, given a chance to speak in a keynote speech. I'll write all that down. And then finally, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. You can obviously continue to add different other things that you would like to add. So, but the most important thing is, what were your observation? What were your learnings? Where can you use the story? What types of story it is? So this is the columns. The same thing I do for the second one as well. So the second one was my autograph story. So uh, Baba paying my 4-year fees, difficult period, not sure what to do in life. Okay, emotions, completely devastated, unsure, perplexed, not getting sleep at night. Learnings, trust yourself, have faith. Things will move at the right time. Where can I use these stories? Again, presentations, family get-togethers, uh, at a difficult period of time when a friend or a family member is asking me for help. You're getting the idea. So imagine every single story you do, you fill it up over there. Let me take a breather. A lot of emotions going on right now, and it's okay. I want you to know that it's absolutely fine to feel emotional. It's absolutely fine to go through the emotions as you're speaking. And it's also important to share exactly what you're feeling. That way, the trust gets built even more. I might as well have a sip of water also. Finish your story true. Because once you do, it'll take you a couple of weeks, days, hours. Once you finish, you'll have a vault of stories. When I did this exercise for the first time, I at least had 30 stories to begin with. And then I keep adding. Now, one good thing about me, I'm very, very blessed in that way, is that I remember every single thing that has happened with me all the way from my 6 months onwards. So the first time when the rice was given in my mouth, it's called the Annaprasana ceremony. From that time onwards, every single thing that has happened to me, I remember it exactly as it is, as if it happened yesterday. So I do write my stories, but not in that depth as such. But I know when to recollect what thought. It just takes me a while to just you will see that I will look up, I will try to recollect, and I'll kind of absorb it back, and then I'll share. I do that for live sessions also. Although from now on, I'm trying to kind of strategize it and nicely structure it so that it becomes easy. And we'll talk about that also in some of the future episodes, how to structure your speech or presentations and all. Coming back to the next phase, we've learned so far, what we've learned is we've learned about why should we share stories, why people hesitate sharing stories. We learned about the 5 different types of stories. Now, I'll give you a very, very simple framework to share a story. Now, one of my coaches had taught a framework called 3S method: setup, struggle, success. Setup is setting up the context before you start sharing the story. Struggle, the roller coaster that you go through related to the story. Success, you want to end people on a high, like either with a lesson or something or the other. We're kind of redevelop this entire structure and come up with a little better structure, which always has worked personally in my favor, a little better. It's called the 4C method. The 4C includes calendar, cycle or catastrophe, celebration, and then clarity. Let's go one by one. I was with a very, very beautiful woman I had met on Facebook just a night ago. The conversation started. I was in the phase of making a lot of interesting friends, or let's just say dates, over Facebook. The conversation went on, and I asked, rather pitched, shall we meet for a date tomorrow if you're free? Uh, I'm not so sure. Should we be meeting so soon? I mean, we've been chatting for the last 1.5, 2 hours, and we're not just chatting, we are rather chatifying with paragraphs, isn't it? Yeah, you're right. All right, where do you want to catch up? Let's catch up at Burger King, Kormangala, Bangalore. Setup, calendar. Again, I haven't given you too much of details because I don't want to, but you get the idea. Night conversation, 2 people chatting. They're going to meet tomorrow. Okay. Cut to the the actual uh, step one is calendar. Step two is cycle or catastrophe. Catastrophe is when things become bad. Cycle is when the whole process, right? So that morning, that afternoon, things kind of froze. She was wearing a bluish white polka dot one piece gown, walking through the Burger King gate, and I stood there completely in shock and surprise. Wow, I met such a beautiful soul over Facebook just last night, and here I am meeting her in person. So we sat, we ordered the burgers, and she started sharing her story with me. A story when in the previous relationship that she had, things didn't work out and she got hurt. And she was telling me, Suryadeep, it feels so bad that so many external things controls our emotions. Things happen to us and it takes our peace away. I realized I wanted to break the pattern. What if I told you you are in control of your emotions? How would that make you feel? Huh. Don't give me all this positivity, okay? Life is messed up, I know. Okay, what if I'm able to prove to you? Okay, prove. I made 3 counts. I kept laughing for the next 160 to 90 seconds. I was laughing. Everyone in the Burger King outlet started laughing. She started laughing. The staff in the Burger King started laughing. And then I stood up, I turned everyone, I said, "Hi, everyone. I'm so sorry for making you all laugh in a very weird manner. My dear friend here says that, thought that the world is in control of our emotions. I just wanted to prove to her that if we want to be happy, we can literally be happy and make everyone happy." That was the reaction. Oftentimes we feel that, oh, the world is pushing us so much, or things that are happening which are not right for us. All we have to do is just and you will instantly start feeling good and happier. That's it. Now, I continued with the story and then I wanted to get back. Were you hooked to the specific scene that I was guiding you towards? What was she wearing? What did I do? How did she speak? Of course, I would like to do a little more role play here, the way I speak versus how she spoke. Little more dramatization, but I chose not to, because in real life conversations, we are not that dramatic, isn't it? And over the last couple of years, I've kind of been trained and mentored to cut down on my dramatics and theatrics to focus more on just being who I really am. So this is how I would actually share a story, which would keep people hooked. Now, once I did that, then the third part of it came the celebration. The celebration where everyone was laughing together. She smiled. And then finally, did you see how I added that last little point of clarity? It was not too long, but I just added what I needed to. The story itself gave you all the learnings that you need. And this is a true story. At the end, I just had to add one line to kind of anchor it inside you. Okay. Now I've done this over and over and over and over and over again, whether it's a Toastmaster speech, whether it's a presentation, whether I'm on an office conversation, talking to a junior, senior, doesn't really matter. I use this exact same method and you can use it too. How much time does it take to get used to? Of course, if you're planning to join the live cohort that I'm doing from starting from December, it'll take you less than 30 days. It'll take you less than 2 weeks also. But if you're planning to kind of practice it, it'll take you around 3 to 4 months to get the hang of it. Okay. So, but it's easy. It's easy because we have done it. We are doing it. When you talk to your best friends, your colleagues, the dearest people in your life, you do end up sharing such stories in this framework itself. It's just that you're not aware. Now, when you become aware, it obviously becomes a lot easier. Yeah. So, and again, it's very important that I highlight this point that you don't put too much of pressure on yourself whenever you're using this method. It need not be like all the four things can also get interspersed in between. It's not like you have to follow it, from all the way from calendar to the cycle to the celebration and clarity. It can also be the other way around as well. Of course, you've seen me demonstrate that already in this entire, I think this is the third story that I've shared with you so far. So this is the way how you share stories. Now, it's important to understand why is this, how does it even make sense? In our human body, we have certain hormones that evokes certain emotions. So just to very, very quickly go through, you have dopamine, which is called as the happy hormone. You have oxytocin that makes the the audience fall in love with you. The connection, it's the love hormone. The serotonin, which sets your mood and controls the mood of your audience also. You release endorphin, which soothes the listeners. It's like an anesthetic. You have adrenaline, which is kind of that fire, fight, fright, flight. What's going to happen? What's not going to happen? The curiosity. And then finally, the cortisol, which generates the emotions behind the curiosity. The moment you share stories, you are actually taking control of the hormones, every single person who's listening to you. And that's why stories are that powerful. Finally, I've already shared with you how do you work with creating your story truth. Applying the entire stories in your personal and professional life is something which probably we will discuss tomorrow. Okay. So I don't want to put everything together at one this thing. I'll tomorrow what we will do is we will go deep into how to really structure a speech, a presentation, how to understand your audience, whether it's two people or three people, doesn't matter. How do you document your stories in such a manner where you're able to expand on each of those stories? And I will literally demonstrate the same to you in the form of a short 1 minute speech, 5 to 7 minute speech, and also, yeah, I think 1 minute and 5 to 7 minutes is more than enough for you to get an idea about how to do things. If you've come this far, what are your action steps? The first and foremost, make sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button so that you'll get notified every single day. I'm planning to do this live every single day. Second thing, there'll be a lot of details mentioned below. Make sure that you go through them. You can write to me, you can suggest me better topics, you can invite me to speak at your school, college, company, to share all these things with your team. And finally, if you want the notes of whatever I'm sharing, I share all my notes every Monday in my newsletter. So I'm starting a brand new newsletter series. Just hit the button below and sign up. You will be receiving all these notes on Monday, nicely compiled. It'll be delivered to your inbox. I want to just, the reason I'm kind of ethically bribing you with the email so that I can just keep sending you all these power packed value stuff. And meanwhile, at the same time, if you feel like you're resonating with what I shared today, you would like to learn how to, if you'd like to help me to help you to craft such stories and share it exactly and even better than the way that I'm sharing, you're more than welcome to join our live cohort that's starting from December. Again, all those details are all mentioned below itself. Yes. Big thank you once again. I want you to know that I love you so, so, so much for being here with me, for supporting me, for being a part of this journey that I kickstarted all over again after internship. I want you to know that I love you, love you, love you so much.